Hello, and how are you all? So today I am coming to talk to you about a trauma bond, and I wondered if you've ever heard of it. So what is a trauma bond? It is an emotional connection or an attachment. Now this is usually with a person, and the word narcissism comes up when you search for trauma bonds. But it's been quite a big hot topic for me over the last couple of weeks. I've had a few clients present with trauma bonds, and I've then gone and learnt everything I can about it. Now, a trauma bond is an unhealthy dynamic, generally between two people or between you and a situation or an event. It causes massive emotional turmoil for you, and it is also associated with a past trauma or a past event, and then you've created this bond, and your anxiety has then spiraled out of control, and it's become really, really massive. There's lots of talk about how to break this trauma bond and what to do about it. But I think first of all, what I want you to learn today is, do you recognize that perhaps you have a trauma bond? Is it with a friend that is just bad for you? Is it with a past relationship? Often people form trauma bonds when they leave their partners because, and then they've got children associated with each other, and that's really quite tricky to deal with. It's almost like a trauma bond, almost like a cycle of abuse. So perhaps you identify that you've got a friend or a loved one or a past relationship, and then they want you, then they don't. Then they want you, then they don't. Then they hook you and bring you in, and then they spit you out. That could be a friendship, it could be a relationship, but it also could be more oddly about a situation or event, and then you are feeding that situation and event by what you tell yourself. So it's almost like a power imbalance in terms of how you think, feel, and react. But when it's with an individual or a person, you can have that too. Now, how do we recover from trauma bonds? And this is quite interesting because, first of all, it's about taking your power back and stopping the control element. And in most cases, it's about having no interaction with that person at all. No conversation, you stop all of that. If it's a situation or an event, you need to look at your external environment and see, how can I manage that a lot better? Also, a really interesting fact that dopamine levels have a really major effect on your coping abilities for trauma bonding. The bond creates an increase in your dopamine, so it reinforces the relationship or the thing. So the more you try to love them, or the more you try to do for this person, or the more you try and work out what this situation is, it just confirms it. So we need to try and increase your dopamine levels naturally to try and counter this. Also, there's a lot of self-blame. You blame yourself for the situation. You take on all the responsibility of the trauma bond.